Welcome to the Explainer. Right now, a frontier cyber model is rolling out across the industry, but here's the catch. It's not for the public. It's a massive structural shift. We are looking at the end of default public access for cybersecurity AI. Let's break down exactly what this new gated era means for you.
We need to start with this stark reality. Frontier AI is gated. The days of default public access for top-tier cyber models, they are officially over. What major labs are doing right now isn't just dropping a new chatbot feature. No, it's a completely new distribution model, and it's built entirely on verification and trust.
To get our heads around this, here's our analytical briefing for today. We're going to cover 1. The gated shift. 2. How trusted access actually works. 3. The dual-use reality of these models. 4. The new access race among companies and governments. 5. The verification limits we still face. And finally, 6. A Monday checklist so your security team knows exactly what to do next. Let's get into it.
Section 1. The gated shift and how we are moving past public access. To really grasp this, just look at the timeline for the first half of 2026. It moved incredibly fast. On February 5th, OpenAI introduces their Trusted Access for Cyber program, or TAC. By April 14th, they announced they are drastically scaling it up. And then by late April, we see widespread reports surrounding GPT 5.5 and its access models. Now, what's fascinating is that OpenAI classifies GPT 5.5 cybersecurity capability as high under their preparedness framework, but importantly, not critical. Yet, even at just a high rating, they went with a strict, gated rollout.
The keyword driving all of this is cyber permissive. When OpenAI talks about iteratively rolling out fine-tuned variants, like GPT 5.4's Cyber to vetted defenders, cyber permissive is the term they use. In plain English, it means the model has fewer safety refusals, it packs a lot more raw specialized capability, but the trade-off is the lab exercises far more control over exactly who gets to prompt it.
Now, the skeptical question we have to ask is, if this technology is purpose-built to help cyber defense, well, why restrict it from the broader public? Shouldn't every independent researcher out there have access to the absolute best armor available?
Here is the practical answer, which brings us to Section 2, Trusted Access, and how this gate actually operates.
The crucial thing to understand is this simple access tier ladder. OpenAI's Trusted Access for Cyber isn't just a basic yes or no bouncer at the door. It's a pathway based entirely on identity and trust. Down at the bottom, you have basic public access with really heavy safety guardrails. But provide strong trust signals and you move up a rung to a verified individual. Move to the very top through organizational vetting and you unlock the highest tiers of those cyber permissive models. Basically, stronger verification gets you fewer refusals.
And we are not just talking about a tiny handful of elite researchers here. OpenAI explicitly stated in their April 14th post that they're scaling this to thousands of verified defenders. The whole goal is to drastically cut down friction for legitimate cybersecurity work without just handing out unrestricted power to bad actors.
Alongside those thousands of individuals, they're explicitly onboarding hundreds of teams who are directly responsible for defending critical software. It's a really aggressive push toward what they call democratized access, but democratized only inside a heavily verified perimeter.
Which naturally brings us to Section 3, the dual-use reality, because this is the exact reason the gate exists in the first place.
Cybersecurity is pretty much the ultimate example of a dual-use domain. The exact same AI capability that helps a defender find a software vulnerability to patch it, it's the exact same capability an attacker uses to exploit it. OpenAI has argued there's a serious operational reality here. If you use AI to accelerate finding vulnerabilities across the board, you could easily overwhelm the entire ecosystem's capacity to actually patch them. So, you have to invest in ecosystem resilience, not just raw model power.
But here's the practical pushback. Does putting these models behind a gate actually stop bad actors? Or does it just create a massive bottleneck for the defenders? Does it genuinely reduce harm? Or does it just shift that harm onto the people waiting around for their access credentials to clear?
That exact tension leads us right into Section 4, the access race. Because this isn't just an OpenAI story. It is a massive industry and policy shift. Just look at this comparison board. It's honestly fascinating. On one hand, you have OpenAI positioning their Trusted Access for Cyber program specifically toward critical cyber defenders, as reported by The Verge. But then, on the other hand, you have reports from the Wall Street Journal saying the White House is actively opposing the expansion of access to Anthropic's cyber-capable Mythos model.
We are seeing intense policy pressure from governments who are starting to treat frontier cyber capability exactly like critical infrastructure.
So the big takeaway here is that access is the new race. For years, the industry just obsessed over who had the smartest model. But now, the negotiation space between AI labs, regulators, and approved institutions means that who gets access to the model is just as important as the model itself.
But we have to stay grounded here. Let's move to Section 5, verification limits, and stress test this whole safety premise.
Because verification, it's not foolproof. First off, verified credentials can absolutely be stolen or abused by an insider. Second, totally legitimate defensive workflows like binary reverse engineering, which OpenAI cites as an enabled workflow, can inadvertently spit out incredibly detailed exploit chains. And third, whenever you build a gate, you create perverse incentives. Think underground black markets popping up just to buy and sell trusted access accounts.
So, the skeptical question returns, and it's a lot louder this time. Okay, you've verified someone's identity. Great. But who decides the ongoing rules, and how do we continuously audit that trust once it's been granted? Handing someone a badge at the door does not guarantee good behavior once they are inside the building.
Which brings us to our final section, the Monday checklist. Let's take all of these geopolitical and industry shifts and turn them into actionable security steps for your SOC.
If you're an engineering or security leader, you need to treat cyber-permissive AI like a powerful, potentially dangerous new class of tool. So here's your checklist. 1. Assign strict ownership over who can even request access and who approves it internally. 2. Clearly define your allowed use cases. Is it secure code review or incident response? 3. Implement strict human-in-the-loop logging for anything that even remotely looks like an exploit chain. And 4. Start with one highly measurable pilot. Seriously, do not just point the AI at your entire network and see what happens.
Now, if you are ready to get your vetted organization into the pipeline, the confirmed application pathway provided by OpenAI is right here, chatgpt.com/cyber.
A perfect example of that measurable pilot I mentioned. Use your backlog of known vulnerabilities. Run a controlled pilot with the cyber permissive model and strictly measure your AI-accelerated time to patch against your historical baseline. That is exactly how you prove value without introducing a bunch of unknown risks.
We've covered a massive structural shift today. Trusted access is realistically the only scalable path we have right now to safely distribute these dual-use frontier capabilities. But it's also a substantial new gatekeeping layer. So I'll leave you with this provocative thought to chew on. Is gating cyber capability the most responsible path forward for our collective security? Or are we just witnessing the start of a world where AI power is heavily credentialed, highly concentrated, and totally out of public hands? Think about it. Thanks for learning with me today on The Explainer.